Brent Hubbs, it was exciting in a lot of areas. Tennessee was sharp offensively, not in the red zone as much as you like, but Tennessee ran the ball effectively. Your quarterback was really good. Defensively, really good against the run, not so much against the pass, but overall, this is a game that Tennessee needed to win. It won, and you're 6-2 heading back into the month of November for only the second time since Philip Fulmer was last head coach at Tennessee, of course, last year and now this year. Big win for Tennessee.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, winning up there is never the easiest go of it. Even when you think that it's going to be, for whatever reason, that place is just hard. I don't know why, but it's a hard for a short drive. It feels like a hard trip every time you go up there for whatever reason. And so you knew that Tennessee was going to be in a game. I didn't think there'd be that many points. I didn't think Tennessee would be that effective offensively, and I certainly didn't think Kentucky would be that effective throwing the football. But that was a nice win for Tennessee. You find a way, and that's what it's about in this league on the road, is finding a way. Tennessee was really good in the fourth quarter to close out a football game. They got off to a good start, and they survived any kind of lull that they had in there. But, it starts with what Michael's saying here. It's Joe Milton. Joe Milton played, I thought, really well. Austin's called him the prettiest game manager out there. Just with, that's kind of how he plays. I thought he managed the game beautifully yesterday. It really did. I didn't think he had a miss yesterday. Did he complete every ball? No. But were there any of those that you went, what was that? There was not an uh-oh throw in the day yesterday. So was impressed with what Joe did. I don't know that Tennessee can run it that effectively against everybody they got left on the schedule, but that was certainly a nice win for Tennessee.
Yeah, it was, and we'll continue to talk Joe Milton as the hour goes on. But like you said, he had 3 incompletions. 2 of them, if you want to get super nitpicky, you could technically say maybe that was interference over there, but they were good balls, catchable balls for their guys. And then he made some really great off-platform throws, and we'll talk about that more as we go on. But I do want to, from the top, Joe Milton played really, really effective. Let's go and answer a super chat question here from Vol for Life 1982. We thank you for sending us in a super chat. There's no question our DNs are being held. What does Banks need to do from an adjustment standpoint to get pressure since they are not getting calls? It feels like week after week there was an issue like this at Alabama. Of course, last night you had the long pause in the postgame press conference for Josh Heupel because he didn't want to criticize officials. Warren Burrell was held on the Ray Davis touchdown run. Tyler Barron is getting held just about every single week. A lot of that's football. I get it. But is there any adjustments that Tim Banks can make to try to alleviate some of that?
No, I think you just got to keep coming. You got to keep using your hands, and you got to keep playing. You got to hope that you get a call at some point. Listen, they ran some twists and some stunts yesterday. They ran some blitzes, some zone blitzes, and dropped guys in coverage. They mixed it up with some different stuff. You got to hope at some point you start getting some calls. You're not going to get all of them, but when the offensive tackle pulls James Pierce down as he's falling down and pulls him on top of him, I understand why Josh Heupel's frustrated with those calls. Again, you're not going to get all of them, but you need to get a few of them, right, at some point. And so we'll see if they can get any calls moving forward. Kentucky's not been called for a lot of holding. They don't seem to be called in that a lot. I know Tennessee had the one hold against them, but it was out in open space. It's pretty easy to see. I just think you got to keep coming is what you've got to do. I don't know that there's a whole lot else out there other than just pin your ears back and keep coming on those third down plays.
Appreciate the super chat. We'll take your super chat questions as the night goes on. Any questions you have, we'll answer those here on the Rocky Top Rewind. Before we get into more of those questions, I thought it was really important for Tennessee to get back to who they were. And that's running the football. That's your identity. I thought Joe Milton last week and yesterday did a lot of good things with his legs. And, man, I really think it might – everybody's different, but maybe just getting hit early on just kind of get you ready to go, because it feels like those early runs and scrambles on third downs each of the past 2 games have really kind of got Joe Milton going. But the traditional run game, you got to get Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, and Dylan Sampson going. And 52 yards from the first drive into the end zone. Jalen Wright, he nearly totaled Tennessee's entire tailback rushing production from the week before on drive number 1. A big game for Jalen Wright. Dylan Sampson was incredible in the fourth quarter. Jabari Small, 32 yards on 9 carries. Tennessee got back to running the football, and I thought that was a huge emphasis and took a lot off Joe, who was really good on the night as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the way Kentucky played it. I really am. Obviously, Kentucky was scared to death of their secondary and didn't think they could match up in a lot of, zero coverage, a lot of man coverage. They played a lot of zone, which they did against Missouri. That lightens the box, and we know whenever the box is light, Eric, then Josh Heupel's going to run the football, and they're going to take advantage of it. Tennessee's pull game was really good yesterday, pulling tackles, pulling guards. They did it a variety of different ways. At times they pulled the tight end as an H-back.
Yeah.
They're very creative schematically in the run game, particularly when they get going, because they pull from all sides and they pull from various places. They'll pull everybody on the offensive line, and it allows that kick-out block. It helps you get to the second level. It creates those angles and edges, which it lets Tennessee kind of gash you, or hit a seam, if you will, and it works. And that's exactly what happened to Tennessee. Early and often in the run game, they got it going. I thought the biggest play early was Joe's third down conversion, where he dropped his pads and ran over the guy. I thought that goes back to him knocking out the linebacker from Texas A&M. He's played physical since that play. Now, there's times he slides and does a good job, but he had a good understanding of what he needed to get done yesterday and what he needed to get done on that play. And instead of trying to make a guy miss and getting tackled by his ankles, he just turned into him, bowled him over for the first down. I thought that was a great opening series play for Joe Milton.
Yeah, it was. And again, I think it kind of goes against what he didn't do against Texas A&M, where he was heavily criticized. And, it's kind of like you want to go to the sticks, make an effort. And the last two games he's done that. And I really think that's kind of gotten him in the groove to go out there and play a big football game. And I think that's helped him. Donovan chimes in here with the super chat. Donovan, we appreciate you as always. We'll talk some hoops at 8:30 with Grant Ramey. He says, "What up, Eric and Brent? Glad Tennessee 6-2. On the other hand, y'all better jump on Dalton Connect bandwagon. He's being charged with assault. My goodness, he had a great game. And again, we'll get more into this at 8:30. He had a fantastic showing in that exhibition game at Michigan State. 28 points. Was really good at the charity stripe. Really good from three. He and Gainey as well. Some newcomers for Tennessee performed in a big way, where you played a quality opponent, quality program without two of your best players.
Yeah, and I mean, he was terrific, and the moment wasn't too big for him. I know it's an exhibition game, but he hadn't played in that period of time, and stepped in and was terrific for Tennessee. So we'll talk to Grant about it at the bottom of the hour. But yeah, he's gonna be a fan favorite very quickly in Knoxville with the way he played today.
Let's go to Colton here. Colton's got a question about Joe, as we're talking about his ability to run the football and how he's played much better the last 2 weeks. Did Joe have some rib injury early, plus the later knee injury, to where now he's healthy and we're seeing what we thought we'd see even sooner? Brent, no one's ever going to be 100% healthy as the season goes on. He did have a knee brace a couple weeks ago after being taken down awkwardly, I guess, in that Austin Peay game. There's been some talk about the ribs. He's never missed a snap, never missed a game. I think the bye week helped him along with everybody else, but he's certainly looking different the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the ribs were an issue early. Now, they didn't want to run him against Virginia and UTSA and Austin Peay because they didn't need to run him there. Probably should have tried to run him a little bit more against Florida, although I think he was pretty tender and pretty sore there. But yeah, I mean, you're getting into, this team's sort of getting into what you thought it would be. And that's the disappointment, as you go and look back at that Florida game. Joe's not 100% healthy. You don't have Cooper Mays. You're not who you thought you were going to be offensively early in the year. They're not going to be what they were last year, but I do think they're getting better offensively with the way Joe's played the last 2 weeks.
We'll continue to take your questions. We'll move on now to tournament bracket here. And I thought one of the good storylines throughout the game was Dante Thornton. He has been Casper out there so far this season. He's just not been there. And when he's out there, he's not doing anything well. He played a really good game, bouncing outside from the slot, starting outside, of course, without Brew McCoy. Maybe that's the right combination. But I think he finished with 3 receptions for 63 yards. One of those on a 49-yarder on a really good throw. Best throw of the day from Joe Milton. Going out to his left, squaring his shoulder stone across the body, 49 yards. Anyway, Dante Thornton in tournament bracket here wants to know, his emergence, can that unlock some new down-the-field passing threat for the 2 big remaining games? Of course, that's Georgia, and you got Missouri on the road here coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question is going to be, how much does Dante Thornton build off this? I mean, I think it's where he's supposed to be, is on the outside. I think he's more comfortable there. I get why they wanted him to play inside because he's got that frame a lot like Jalen Hyatt. So you thought maybe you could get that kind of step in play there and split some time with Squirrel White there. But I think he's clearly more comfortable outside and a little more open space. And I think you'll see him getting targeted more as you go forward here. Can he do that against, Georgia, who's going to pull and grab and tug and play you physical? I don't know. I mean, Tennessee had a hard time getting open last year with some high quality receivers, but because they got shoved around, Tennessee's going to have to be really physical in that game. And I think Missouri will try to shove Tennessee around some as well. But I do like Dante Thornton out wide as opposed to in the slot because I think he's got more confidence there.
Michael wants to know about bowl possibilities, and there's been these projections. Every single week there'll be new projections for Tennessee and every other college football team as the week goes on. Brent, I think if you get to 8 wins, which is very attainable right now, I think you're looking at likely a Florida bowl game. If you get to 9 wins, maybe Citrus is a destination, and of course, if you get the double-digit wins, I think a New Year's Six bowl game is very much in play. A lot of this has to do, again, Georgia game and of course the Missouri game. But if you win at Missouri, you're looking at a 9-win season. I think that can get you in Citrus at least, right?
Well, yeah, I think it depends on where Ole Miss is. How do they
Yeah.
finish out the year? What does LSU look like? You got 1 team in the playoff, 2 teams in the playoff. How many get in New Year's Six? I think there's a lot of variables there beyond Tennessee's control. But certainly, if you win and you were able to get to 9 wins, then yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely in Florida. And I do think Tennessee's attractive, as Donovan says there in the chat. I think Tennessee's fan base is excited, and I think that they are they'll be an attractive team. But it's going to depend on where some other teams finish as well.